Hello everyone, this is the Racing Canucks, and today we're going to be talking about round 1 of the 2021 F1 season. Let's get in. Alrighty, so right before the race started during their formation lap, Checo had a malfunctioning Red Bull vehicle, and we were thinking, oh no, it's the curse of the Red Bull 2-seat.
Alex Albon softly crying in the distance.
But fortunately, he was able to get it going. He had to start in the pit lane though. But what happened in the first lap there, Rachel?
He definitely had a really good comeback over the course of the race, coming from pretty much dead last. He wound up finishing, fifth? I believe? Yeah, fifth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously whatever happened with the car didn't slow him down, which we were all happy about because we want to see him succeed, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But to start out the race, Mazepin.
Well, Mazepin.
Yeah, that's what he's going now, apparently, by a lot of F1 trolls and meme goers. But, yeah, I mean, I called that. When he spun in quali twice, I knew he wouldn't make it one lap. So, to me, I wasn't very surprised, but to many others, they were kind of shocked to see, because he talks a big game, and they were looking forward to seeing him try to prove himself, but maybe he's going to have to wait till round 2 for that.
Yeah. Now, for me, I like to give people second chances, and I guess Mazepin has more than second chances. He's got multiple chances. We looked up some of his history before this video, and he's done a lot of things off and on the track. But I did want to see a good race from him still. It's your first race of your new career, and spinning out within a couple turns, it's not the great way you want to start, and especially for Haas. We know that they were struggling last year for sure with just financially. So having Mazepin be part of their team injected some money into it. So I was hoping to see Haas kind of compete in the midfield. And obviously with Mick Schumacher and Mazepin being the newest drivers, or one of the newest drivers on the grid, they're going to be having growing pains. But I didn't really expect that to happen. But I play F1 2020, and that happens to me all the time, so I feel his pain.
I mean, Haas took quite a gamble taking on 2 rookies. They're going to have to expect the first few races are going to come with a lot of learning as they go because they're not used to this type. I mean, yes, they've raced in F2, but F1 is arguably very different still, so they're going to definitely take some getting used to. I mean, it's the same with Checo going from Racing Point to a Red Bull car. It's still going to take some adjustment in time and getting used to how a different car drives. So, I mean, it's definitely something we're going to be keeping an eye on throughout the season.
Yeah, but interesting beginning to the race, and we got more to talk about. Let's go on to part 2. We're going to be talking about how Ferrari has the pace now.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of shocked about that.
So the Black Stallion, the Ferrari, the Black Stallion, there's a Black Stallion on the logo, Rachel.
Black Stallion?
Yes, Stallion. I can't talk. But the Black Stallions of Ferrari is one of the winners, I would say, out of the first round of this new season. Especially during practice, they were showing that they actually had pace, so that they could compete over the rest of the competition.
I was a little bit worried about them during practice, but it was in quali that they really shined. I mean, when Leclerc and Sainz went 1-2, I was like screaming in my seat a little bit. I was not expecting that. So it's been really nice to see Ferrari has brought a little bit of the competition back into the game. I mean, I don't think they're necessarily going to be a top 3, but I don't think they're going to finish 7th this year either. So definitely nice to see them getting some pace back in those cars.
Now, in my opinion, I do see them fighting for the top 3. As long as these drivers have the zeal to win. Leclerc obviously does, and Sainz is getting used to being in a Ferrari vehicle, but he was still in the top 10 in this race. So, lots of learning. Still, even if you are an experienced driver, when you switch teams, it's a new dynamic. It's like switching jobs, still a new dynamic. It is switching jobs, essentially. So we were really surprised to see Ferrari hanging in there, and even in the first laps, Leclerc was giving Bottas a run for his money, maybe even his seat. Who knows?
I was hoping to see Leclerc on the podium, but no such luck this week for me.
But yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing Ferrari progress throughout the season. Now, I'm not a huge fanboy of Ferrari, as you can see in the background. I like the other horse, the Mustangs. But I want to see Ferrari succeed. I want to see everybody have a better season. Last year it was all Mercedes and a little bit of hints of McLaren.
Let's be
and
honest,
Red
it was
Bull.
Mercedes dominance last year.
But if we could get more races like this one, it's definitely going to be interesting. I wasn't even mad about who won the race, which we'll get to the next point here. So, Rachel, who won the race?
I want to talk about it.
Well, my Mega Driver won. I chose Lewis Hamilton. I almost said it wrong. I always say it backwards. Or is it Sir Lewis Hamilton now? I don't know how to put...
Sir Lewis.
Yeah, how do we mention him? I'll call him Lewis Hamilton. Sir Lewis Hamilton won the race. But it wasn't a regular victory that he usually gets.
He actually had to fight for the victory this
Yeah.
time, right down to the last lap. Which kept us on the edge of our seat, unlike the last season where it was like sometimes 15 seconds
Or more.
margin between him and second place. So it was definitely really nice to see. Even he said it was one of the hardest races he's had in a while, which I'm sure is a bit of a gut punch to Bottas. But I mean, like, it was nice to see a closer competition this year, as much as it was still Mercedes in the first podium. I mean, at least it was a little bit more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, for sure. We can see that Red Bull has done their homework now, closing that gap between them and Mercedes. And, a lot of people would say that, of course, Lewis has won all these championships and all these races. He's in the best car. But it just showed yesterday on how well he raced in the last few laps to still have that lead. Now,
he undoubtedly still has talent. It's not just the car. He has the talent.
Mm-hmm. Right? Like, if you put Russell from last year when he was in Bahrain, or on the same trackish, Russell is still doing very well, but does he still have the same caliber as Hamilton? No, not yet. But so I still believe that Hamilton is probably one of the best drivers, if not the best, that we've ever seen on the grid before. Now I might get some hate for saying that, but he is doing very well. He showed yesterday that he deserves that seat still, and that he could even be the win for 8 times that no one else ever had.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the Mercedes favorite. We can tell just because of how they botched Bottas' pit stop.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so bad for the guy. Like, he can't catch a break, especially after watching Drive to Survive Season 3 on Netflix. That one episode that focused on him, it kind of made him more relatable.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt kind of bad for him. He's kind of like that cursed second Red Bull seat, but in Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of is the driver that keeps getting overlooked, but he has that drive. He wants it, but he's just not getting those opportunities. And I mean, yeah, a 10.5 second pit stop, like, that is like death in F1. I mean, I think that was longer than Mazepin's race, to be honest with you. Like, it was just, it was heartbreaking. I felt so bad for the guy.
Yeah, and he does have the pace, because the last lap he earned the fastest and quickest lap. So it's not the equipment; it's just
the opportunities he's being looked over for.
Yeah, he's got a lot of bad pit stops. Nothing on his end, but just bad things happening to him. Now I'm hoping that it doesn't get into his mind, because he obviously can keep up with Max and Lewis, having the fastest lap. But it was a very interesting thing to see it happen again.
Yeah, he's got to get his confidence back. That's the big issue here. I mean, he's lost a lot of that from last season.
Yeah. And you can even tell by the podium celebration. Like,
it was a pitiful celebration.
Max and Bottas just didn't want to be
there.
there.
They were both ticked right off. You could tell. Like, they were just not having it.
That was probably the lamest.
I think we celebrated more than they did, and we didn't even celebrate that much.
Yeah, but I feel for Bottas there. He definitely has talent. He just needs to show it some more. Alrighty, so we're going to talk about the new teammates that are joining the existing teams. Now, the new drivers that swapped around, we got a list here. So we got Max Verstappen and Checo for Red Bull. So Checo obviously is the new driver there.
Yeah, we have Norris and Ricciardo at McLaren, and obviously Ricciardo's the new one to the game on that one.
And then for Ferrari, Leclerc is the original. Sainz is the newcomer.
We have Gasly and Tsunoda, who Tsunoda is the newcomer from F2.
Newcomer for Aston Martin, well, technically Racing Point, is Vettel.
And then we have Ocon versus Alonso with Alpine.
And then last round are 2 new drivers. Mick Schumacher and Mazepin. Now, we wanted to see which drivers did better than their teammates. Did the newcomers do better than the original drivers, or did the original drivers do better? And for the majority, all the original drivers did better than one, and that was Gasly, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah, Tsunoda outranked Gasly. However, Gasly had a DNF, and he had some problems early on. He lost his front wing, and he had some problems, so he kind of got thrown to the back of the field, and I guess he wound up DNFing. I didn't know that. It's just that's what popped up on the stats. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt bad for Gasly. I think he could have had the pace. He did well in qualifying quite a bit, and so, yeah, it was heartbreaking, but it was really nice to see Tsunoda. I mean, that kid has drive. He wants it. He pulled out an amazing qualification round. I think he was up at P2 at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, just incredible. AlphaTauri's definitely a team to watch for this year. I mean, they also have the Honda engine as well. I'd really like to see Honda stick around at least one more year after this. I mean, they're bringing a new game each year, and each year they seem to be getting better and better. So hopefully we can kind of see that competition a little bit more.
Yeah, and with Tsunoda, you can see that why Honda really focused a lot of time and money in him, raising him as their racing son, essentially. He's been with Honda for a long time now, farther than just F1 in his other leagues too. So not surprised to see Tsunoda still doing so well, but just kind of heartbroken to see Gasly not even finish the race. You know, he had such a breakout season, and you know, I'm a Gasly fan, and I want him to do well. But with everybody else, no one knew people were able to beat the original people.
The existing teammate. Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, Alonso DNF'd. I think Alonso would have beat Ocon. I really do. I mean, I'm not a huge Ocon fan myself, but yeah, I think Alonso probably would have beat Ocon if he'd not had those brake problems early on and had to retire his car.
The one I'm surprised about is actually Vettel. Vettel is how many championships he's won? I think four of them, and he's just kind of all over the place right now.
Yeah, I was super disappointed in Vettel. In my fantasy league, I had him on all three teams, and I didn't do very well. So, yeah, I mean, he's making mistakes that he shouldn't be making. I mean, as a 4-time world champ, you'd expect a better performance than 18th out of that guy, especially in a new vehicle where they're really trying to work with him. They want his experience. They want him to be doing well and kind of taking Stroll under his wing, and right now it's Stroll who's outperforming him, and it's kind of heartbreaking to see it. And he's, like I said, he's making mistakes that he shouldn't make, like when he rear-ended Ocon and tried to blame Ocon. It's like, dude, he was braking. You just ran into the back of him. He didn't change his racing line. He was going to a turn. Yeah. Well, what possesses you to blame that on him? Like, as a 4-time world champ, you should have accepted the responsibility of that and just said, hey, I messed up. Like, that was my bad. Yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping we see a better season for him this year. But I mean, I think if he doesn't smarten up and, you know, kind of gain control of the situation soon, I don't think he's gonna last much longer in F1, to be honest, unfortunately.
But you know what? No spins. He didn't spin this time.
Yeah, I don't think so. No.
So there you go. That was a Ferrari problem. But yeah, interesting to see the new teammates working with the original drivers for the team, the new dynamics. I want to see the memes that come out of it, especially with Ricardo and Lando, because those are your two most, I guess you would say, humorous and socially active drivers. One of them, so. Definitely something cool to see throughout the season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these teams' dynamics shift from the old dynamics with the old teammates to how everything starts to come about with the new teammates. And we'll see, I guess, as the season goes on, if, you know, they work well together or if we're going to have kind of a Prost versus Senna issue on our hands here.
Yeah, that was rough. Also, I almost forgot to mention the Red Bull seat, the second seat. Checo, will he be able to stay in that seat for the whole season?
They don't really have much of a choice, to be honest. And I think, like I said earlier, he is a seasoned driver. he's just in brand new equipment. Like, he's going from a Racing Point with a Mercedes engine to a Red Bull with a Honda engine. Like, that's not necessarily, like, that's a pretty big swap for him. So it's going to take him a race or two, I mean, to get the feel of the car. They only had 1 weekend of testing before this race happened.
And there's a lot more pressure, too.
Yeah, sure. There's more pressure, but also, I mean, he can't control a mechanical failure. That's not a driver error. That's a car failure. So Red Bull really can't hold that against him. It's not like he DNF'd, it's not like he went into a wall or made a stupid mistake. It was not his fault. So hopefully Red Bull doesn't hold that against him.
I don't think they will. He showed that he got the car back from 20th to 5th.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely think that he will do well this season in that Red Bull. I think he's definitely gonna,
He'll challenge Max.
I think he'll challenge Max. I really do. I think he's gonna definitely be up there, pushing Max and pushing those Mercedes cars. Unfortunately, unlike Albon was not doing last year. So
he was just pushing cars off the track.
Yeah.
All right. So we got our last segment here. We're gonna be talking about the biggest surprises that we personally have. All right, so for the biggest surprises that we have, I only have one surprise. I'm very simple-minded. Norris. I was surprised throughout the whole weekend on how quick he was and how McLaren has really gotten used to that Mercedes engine. They were kind of afraid that they might be a little bit slower because, they had to change some of the bodywork to put that Mercedes engine in, which they couldn't use any other tokens to improve the vehicle that way. But Norris was able to bring that vehicle to 4th place in that race, and if they can keep that momentum going, they may even be on podiums more than just twice last year.
I definitely think that they're a contender for the top 3 constructor again this year.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of big surprises. Mainly, I've already expressed it, just how disappointing of a debut Vettel had with Aston Martin. I mean, that he should have done so much better than he did, and it was really disappointing to see. So hopefully it was just kind of a fluke thing and he can pull it out for next round. But I mean, who knows? We'll have to kind of keep an eye on it. But also, Tsunoda getting points in his F1 debut. That is something that not a lot of people can brag. George Russell crying softly in the background. Yeah, that kid can drive. He is definitely going to be one to watch. I think he probably will be the top contender for Rookie of the Year as well at the end of the year. And I think another big surprise that I don't think anybody would have seen coming compared to last season was both Ferraris in the top 10. I mean, that was just a shock. I don't think we had many races with one Ferrari in the top 10, let alone 2 last season. So definitely nice to see Ferrari's back on pace again and is joining the competition this year. Actually,
to second that, that's going to be a very good race when they go back to Italy for redemption. Because,
yeah.
They did terrible in their home track. So
was it Imola or Monza they both DNF'd?
I don't know. They lost so many times that season.
Yeah, they both. Didn't really matter. Both Italy tracks they did terrible, Imola and Monza. So.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
Well, that was the recap of round 1. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. If you have any suggestions for us to talk about or things to improve on our videos, give us a comment or direct message us. Also, don't forget to check out our Instagram. We got the Racing Canucks and the Racing Canucks Media, 2 pages there. I run the Canucks Media one. She runs the other one. We'll have the links up below, and we might even open up a Twitter account so we can tweet there too. Well, everyone have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.